At some point, Matt Eberflus is just a loser. Now, he's a successful coach. We have to acknowledge that. We have to point out that when I say this, I don't mean that there's no redeeming qualities for Matt Eberflus, but he is a loser in the NFL. And by the way, I have tons of data to back that up, and there's not much debate that you can possibly have about it. Even when Caleb Williams has what could be his best game as a pro, we still cannot get the job done. The Bears fall to the Vikings 30-27 in a game that had Matt Eberflus just kicked an extra point, we would have won 27-28, and this game would have been over. The Bears would have been 5-6 instead of 4-7, but it didn't play out that way. And by the way, when I say this, and let me know in the comment section, do you think that this would have played out that way? Because if we had done that and we had just kicked the extra point, likely we would have kicked the extra point the second time and not gone for two that second time. So, maybe it balances itself out ultimately, but that was still a point left on the table that Matt Eberflus didn't do. And did I mention Cairo Santos, the guy who had his field goal blocked to beat the Green Bay Packers, had his very next field goal attempt blocked in the same spot one more time? Because why would we make adjustments? Why would we do something different? It makes no sense. We are at the end of the Matt Eberflus era. I assure you, Bears fans, it is coming very, very soon. Let's look at some statistics. Let's get revolted by the situation, and then let's see what happens. First of all, Bears lose 30-27 to the Vikings, who moved to 9-2, 5-1 away from home. The Bears fall to 4-7, 4-3 at home. Caleb Williams has a breakout game. Yet again, what Thomas Brown is doing is working. We have to recognize that. 32 of 47, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. Caleb Williams also had 6 rushes for 33 yards, leading rusher on the team. You don't want your quarterback to be the leading rusher on the team, yet here we are. Now that, by the way, probably necessity at this point. DeAndre Swift was 13 for 30. We only ran the ball 22 times. We threw the ball 48 times. That seems a little bit out of whack, but to be fair here, I think that the Bears were trying to get Caleb Williams more involved in building for the future. And listen, you might be saying to yourself right now, you want to win every game. I want to win every game. But Caleb Williams and Thomas Brown have a synergy together. They have to work on what they're doing. And we have to look at Matt Eberflus and say, hey, Matt Eberflus, aren't you coaching the defense that just gave up 30 points? Because the Bears give up a ton of points, more points than they've given up all season, I believe, and fall, again, to the Minnesota Vikings. DJ Moore, though, had a breakout game, 7 receptions, 106 yards, caught everything thrown his way. This is a great sign right here. 7 receptions on 7 targets. Keenan Allen, 9, but had 15 going his way. Cole Kmet had 7 out of 10 targets. Roma Dunze, 5 out of 10 targets. Just some gross overthrows, by the way, from Caleb Williams on a few of those Roma Dunzes. Otherwise, they would have looked a lot better for all of that. Now, again, this is a good game that, we had plenty of opportunities. DeAndre Carter fumbles, and really, he just let the ball hit him in the leg and lost something that we needed to have. Jonathan Owens recovered a fumble. Look, we had some opportunities here. We had plenty of opportunities here. Montez Sweat got in on some sacks. DeMarcus Walker got in on some sacks. Jacob Martin had a sack. We had 3 sacks in the game. These are good statistics. No interceptions, but we had a few mistakes. Among those was the field goal again. Just, guys, I can't tell you. I can't stress enough. A lot of this comes down to preparation. A lot of this comes down to, and I want to tell you, if you watched the game, you would have heard Daryl Johnson say that, pre-snap penalties, that is the player. That's not the coach. And that's not true. Part of that's accountability. But here in Chicago, we are not accountable, in case you haven't noticed yet. So, yes, it is. But at the end of the day, the coaches have to put you in positions for success. And if you can't hold and contain yourself, they have to put somebody else in. That's what accountability is. Matt Eberflus, he's not accountable. He doesn't hold anybody accountable. So, we do have to look at this, and we have to say this. The Bears scored 27 points. We'll take the points. The defense gave up 30 points. We don't like to see that. at the end of this, I think the best thing that we can say is this should have been the nail in the coffin for Matt Eberflus. This should have been the moment where we saw that even with an inspired gameplay, make no mistake about this, Caleb Williams marched down the field, had 2 scores at the end of the game and a field goal at the end of the game, scoring 17 points in the fourth quarter, leading this team back. The future for the Chicago Bears is very, very bright. The only dim switch right now is Matt Eberflus. Thomas Brown, we like what we see so far. We hope that it continues, but we should also recognize there is a probability that Thomas Brown will be gone at the end of this season, or in the event, in a rarity. And let me know if you think, by the way, in the comment section, if you think that Thomas Brown would make a great head coach. But the problem with that is that he would have to hire an offensive coordinator. So we're only going to have Thomas Brown for a short period of time. So you better get used to whatever happens right here, the growing pains, all of that. We're going to call this season a loss at this point. It's a wash. Even if the Bears win the next 6 games, which they will not, that would put them 10-7, probably not even enough to make the playoff. Imagine a 7-10 team now sitting at 10-7, not even going to make the playoffs at that level because of the level of competition in this entire NFC North. So everybody in this league, everybody in the NFC North stepped up their game except Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus has got to be gone. I hope you guys agree with me. We'll talk about this more on Monday. Until then, bear down. We had a short week. Detroit's coming up very, very soon. And we'll see what happens. But one of the worst things that could possibly happen would be the Bears winning, because if that validates Matt Eberflus staying, I am not on board with that. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.